All righty. So today we're going to focus on a few different aspects of building your dream team. Um, there's a lot of things that can mean dream team, right? Talking about underwriting a deal, finding a deal, renovating a deal, renting and managing a deal, or refinancing a deal. The lender you use to buy it's usually not the lender you're using to refinance it. Um, you know, the agent you used to buy it might not be the agent you used to sell it, or vice versa. Um, there's as you grow your portfolio, there's so many aspects to what you have to do. Don't overcomplicate it, but also don't simplify it too much because you might be leaving money on the table, right? The you know the we'll discuss a bunch of different avenues for what you're doing, but just remember, for instance, I've have a decent amount of experience in real estate investing. I've never paid for coaching in my life for real estate investing. Um, but I'm looking at apartment buildings now, like bigger apartment buildings, not the 10, 11 unit stuff we're doing. And I think I'm gonna start paying for coaching for a highly regarded real estate investment, community that will actually physically underwrite the properties with you and actually, help you get funding and things of those natures. I do that on a small scale, but I want to do it correct. I want to make sure I'm doing it legally. I want to make sure I'm not gonna, get in trouble with the IRS. So why would I spend 2 years trying to perfect this when I can go somewhere and learn it? And that's kind of why people come to me when they're getting started or trying to get to my level, because I've done it. I can save you a lot of the headaches. If I'm being real with myself, could I figure it out? Sure, but it's going to take me a long time and I'm probably going to make too many mistakes. And I don't want to make a ton of mistakes because AI is going to take all of our jobs in 10 years. So, I'm trying to accelerate with less mistakes. So, understanding where you are, if you need different aspects to your team is huge, right? When I first started in real estate investing, I bought a house with my sister and I'm like, don't worry, I'll take care of it all. Nightmare, right? And learned I can't do it on my own because I'm too busy and I can't get to the property every day. I can't make sure everything's going correctly. So once I fixed that and I started investing again, I have partners and way better, right? Like if I can't get there, they can. We all have our roles, right? It's helped and we invest together. So it helped me accelerate what I'm doing. So it's just understanding where you're at, right? All right, so just so you guys know, I run Grid Delco. Um, there's like thousands of grid chapters across the country and the world. It's just a global investment community. They have Facebook pages. They have, email alerts. I would sign up for all of them because you never know when a deal is going to come up within our area or an area you're looking in that someone posts on there, and you can network, get to meet people. You never know who you're going to meet at these types of meetings, right? It could be someone that you build a great business with. So, or that teaches you how to build a great business. The reason we do this is to connect, learn from, and collaborate with like-minded people interested in building wealth and creating impact through real estate. And I do mean that, like, I'm not interested in being a slumlord. I don't think anyone I work with is. I purchase properties, I make them make sense, but you never hear one of my tenants say the roof's been leaking for very long. Like I'm making sure things are tight because I care about the asset, right? And in caring about the asset, you care about your tenants, even if they don't care about you. So, you know, uh, like I've said to everyone, we welcome investors of all experience levels. We're lifelong learners. And I think if you're in real estate, you kind of become a student of the game. It's like you're always listening to something. I'm always listening to a podcast, always listening to an audiobook. I'm constantly just trying to layer my knowledge on top of what I'm physically doing. So I'm doing it, but I'm also continuing to learn. And I don't see anything as beneath me. I'll even listen to like real estate rookie podcasts because it reminds me of something I forgot on my first one that I thought to remind myself of, and I didn't make a note of it, right? So um, that's I recommend listening to as many investor-based podcasts as you could find. They're free. And as you scale up, when it becomes worth it to you, start investing in knowledge in real estate. I don't think you need to purchase anything to start, right? If you're doing a basic flip, a burr, even up to like a small apartment building, you generally can get away with learning yourself. Once you start getting to the point that you're considering syndicating, gathering funds, purchasing out of state, things like that, then you want to really start tapping into people that can help you. And at that point, you can afford it, right? Because you're making money. Uh, a lot of people I've heard get sold these like courses. You see some guy on Instagram and he's in a Bugatti and he's like, I can show you how to invest and retire in 2 years, right? And all of that's rented, right? Like he's just trying to sell you a course. Um, and so don't do that. But eventually we get to a point, and this courses aren't cheap. Like I've seen, investor courses cost like 20 grand to learn how to invest in real estate for like a weekend. And it's like, why didn't you just put the 20 grand into investing in real estate, right? So, understand what you're doing. What's up, man? Understand what you're doing and don't don't overspend. Use the money wisely. The community keeps growing. Every time I talk to them and I have our seminars and our Zooms with them, there's tons of people in grid and involved in grid. And I think it's for the main reason that like they're not trying to sell you anything, like I'm not here to sell you anything. It's learn, and if it works out for you, great, and hopefully we get to collaborate on something at some point. So who am I? My name is William Holder. I run the William Holder Realty team and Remax Classic out of Wayne. I live here in Swarthmore. I've been in Delaware County for 23 years. Grew up in the Caribbean, moved here during high school and haven't left. I like it. It's great. Got my wife and kids here now, not going anywhere anytime soon. So uh, I run this group for a few reasons I mentioned already, but mostly one, to educate people in investing in real estate, and two, to meet people that want to invest in real estate and grow together over time. Um, the together you can accomplish more. You just have to find the right people, right? I don't recommend investing with just anybody. Get to know people, make sure you're on the same page, make sure you understand each other's values, uh, make sure one of you isn't a mess, like that's happens, right? Like, and then because that could affect everything with your business. So, um, you can connect with me through Instagram, Facebook. Just email me, William Holder Realty. I have a website, William Holder Realty. My cell phone is 610-657-6215. Really easy to get a hold of. So yeah, just we can connect, and I try to get back to you as soon as possible. Like we normally do, we'll go around the room, introduce ourselves really quickly. Just stick to these topics if you can. If you want to add in any more, feel free. So sorry.
Hello everyone, my name is Girish Jain. I've been coming here for a while. So we did pick the bird property recently, gonna close hopefully next week.
Nice. Where at?
It's in Brookhaven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Parkside?
So, yeah,
Parkside?
Parkside, no, this is somewhere like some townhome kind of things, townhomes.
What's the street?
It's the Rainer Road.
Rainer, okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so but it's having some issues with UNO, conditional UNO, and having some issues with the lateral sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big cost, $10,000 or something. We're trying to see who's gonna pay. That's where we are right now, but if that works out, we'll probably close next week.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we have another property which we got, brand new one that's rented now, so.
Nice.
Yeah, we're looking at another one now, so yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Casey Ross, in Bester, Philly. I have one single family rental in the city. I grew up in Delaware County. Also looking to invest here. I'm interested in single family homes and small multifamily. Just hoping to continue to learn and meet people through the group.
Awesome.
Chris Combs, I am a real estate investor. I flip houses. I have rental properties. I am looking to scale up a little bit, possibly partner up and get into bigger apartment buildings. And yeah, just continuing to get better at what I do.
Good evening, my name is Ronnie Rosner, I live in Havertown. I'm not yet an investor, but I'm intrigued by the prospects of investing in real estate. My son was actually the one who got me going down this path. His first property was a 120-year-old farmhouse that he rehabilitated down in Herndon, Virginia. Leveraged that to buy his first real home that he owns now. And he'd like to have me work with him to build a little empire for himself.
Nice. Awesome. What is your background? What job line of work did you do before?
Well, I still work full-time.
Okay.
I'm a headhunter,
Okay. All right.
but my side gig actually is catering.
Okay. Okay.
My name is Bill. I am a newbie investor. Looking to find my first burr property or flip, possibly, right? Interested right now in starting small, right? Single family, duplex, something like that. You know, and I'm hoping to learn as much as I can. I'm only been researching for a couple of months, you know, but I am trying to, you know, I'm on the bigger pockets and this and that. I'm trying to gain all this knowledge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I want to continue to learn and, you know, possibly, you know, network, right? Get to meet people who are interested in investing in real estate and would like to scale enough to be able to retire and bring in passive income.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. I'll keep it short and sweet. Don't sue me. Just giving you free advice. Yeah. I do record these. They're on my YouTube. So if you say anything, don't say anything that'll get you canceled. All right. So it was the dream team, right? And I do want to preface this by saying your team will evolve, your team will change. If you were the contractors, like it's gonna go one way or the other. They're either gonna end up being great and get too expensive for you, or they're gonna fall flat on their face and ruin your transaction. Every now and then you'll find one that'll be fine for a while, and then something happens. So I don't say that to continue to pile on with contractors, but I've been through enough where I know it's gonna go one way or the other with most contractors. So be prepared for it. Hedge yourself that chances are you're gonna have to rotate your contractors as time goes on. Not subs usually. Subs usually are fairly set in their ways and pricing, but general contractors, different story. So another thing to understand is no one will succeed alone. I mean, any investor will tell you that, either they had the perfect realtor or lender or a friend that, helped them along the way. Their wife was all about it, like just understanding, sons were into the game. Like you need help, you need people, you need partners, you need service providers, you need contractors, you need others just to perform basic tasks required to invest in real estate. If you're own a couple rentals, I mean, you need handymen just to run out and fix things because you can't always do it, right? So understand that you need people and you treat them right. Some of them will be superstars who do more than fill a role. I mean, if you get to the point where things are working out really well with your contractor or your realtor or your lender, you might partner with them. Like you might actually start buying buildings with them. And they'll be a great source for referrals, ideas, and energy that'll help you grow. A lot of the times, like for instance, when like you're doing a flip, like we'll talk about what I think will sell in that market, right? And where do I think you really need to spend your money? And the generals, but you might say, hey, the last 20 homes that sold around here, like, what are you seeing? And that's helpful because one, it saves you from having to hire a designer, that's money. And two, uh, it's um it gives you like current knowledge of the market, right? And if you get a really good partner that understands, the big part about what you're trying to do, they understand they can grow with you, right? Not try to suck you dry on every transaction. And that's unfortunately what a lot of contractors try to do, or, you know, uh, I've been with so many people that started to invest and they were working with the realtor and the realtor's telling them to buy this, and none of it's making any sense, Now they're like, how do I get out of this? And I'm like, you either take a loss and move on, or you just wait, and time will make up for it. But uh, make sure who you're working with's done this before, right? If you're working with an agent, 70% of agents don't even own their own house, right? So like, how do they not invest in real estate? Uh, Working with a contractor, they might come with a good referral, but do some more digging. Make sure they've done multiple jobs. If your contractor can get to the property on the drop of a dime, what's he doing? Like, he's just sitting around at home? No, good contractors are booked out for months at a time. So, and as they grow and they scale, they understand how to manage that. But you don't want people to be too available. That's not good, because then you're their only source of income, and that's, that could be bad, right? Um, so, yep. And you have to identify and nurture those relationships. My contractors that have not screwed me over yet, I take care of them. I refer them to people. I make sure I never beat them up on price. Like, 'cause I know they're gonna do right by me. I'm not gonna nitpick their bid. Um, I'm not, I trust that the work's gonna get done, and I don't make life hard for them, because they've been helpful to me. Um, so, a big part of that is understanding how to identify who these superstars are, right? First off, be one, right? If you're able to give, right? And I've found that sometimes to my severe detriment, I'll give, and I don't really expect anything in return, but it'll come, And um, I think doing it without expecting that return makes it a lot easier than holding on, waiting for something to come back to you. So, if I can give to a client constantly or to a contractor constantly, I might not get anything for a year or two, and then all of a sudden that contractor is referring me to someone that, just they met and that person now wants to sell their house. Or, I had an electrician I would constantly give work to, and he like a few years ago reached out and said he was bidding out a job, and the guy's like, you know what, I don't want to do this. I'm thinking about selling it. Do you know any investors? Boom, I came in, I was able to get that property, right? So, and in return, he got the whole electrical job, right? So understanding, that it's a give and take. Everyone's trying to feed off of this organism, and if you can help each other, it's great, right? Uh, so become an important resource to people, a source of referrals, business and advice for other business owners. This is big. I mean, if you can connect with other investors and give them information, help them in any way, um, they're going to help you, right? They're going to connect you. So connect with the people around you with businesses and opportunities, and the superstars will complete the circle and identify themselves by sending you business in return. This is big. I'm sure, if one of your subs finds a good deal, he's calling you, right? Because he knows he's getting constant business from you. It's the same thing with me. That's how it should work, right? And like, if I get a really good opportunity, I'm calling someone I know will actually buy the property and do a good job and make my life easy on the out sale, versus uh doing a terrible flip, right? Um, so understand who your potential dream team members are. Settlement agents slash title companies, right? It's really the same thing. Delaware is a attorney state, so it's a little bit different, but for the most part, your settlement agent, your title company is the same thing. Why are they important? Well, for one, if you're buying sheriff sale properties, and you have a good relationship with a title company, and you narrow down the list. You pull the list from the Delaware County Sheriff's Sale website. You narrow it down to the properties that you think actually look like they might be worth buying. You go do a drive-by, make sure they're not falling over, and maybe you have five. You could send that list to your title company and say, hey, can you pull the liens on this for me? Do a liens and judgment search just to make sure I'm not gonna buy something and want to kill myself after, right? So if you have a good title company, they'll do that relationship with you. A lot of title companies don't want to do that. They're like, oh, what are we gonna make $100 to do this? It's not worth our time. But good title companies, good partners understand that because they're willing to do that for you, when you get that property, you're going to use them for title, right? You're going to refer them, you're going to support them. So find a title company that's willing to do those things. Also, a lot of title companies won't work with wholesalers. And if you're an investor, you're trying to be a wholesaler, it's kind of difficult to find a title company that will work with you. So another reason to get a title company is a good partner. And then they could protect you from buying a property that's just got all sorts of stuff going on title, right? Um, Hard money lenders, kind of one of those necessary evil things. It's like they're expensive, but they'll lend you on more than most banks will, right? They're going to charge you a lot of points. Their interest rate is going to be high, but it's quick money. It's generally easy money. And a lot of them will fund you. I mean, as you grow and you get more uh experience, like you might find hard money lenders that'll give you 90 to 95% of the whole transaction because they know you're good for it, right? Um, a hard money lender doesn't have to be an actual hard money lender company. It could just be a private lender. It could be like Bob, who's your best friend or your neighbor and is sitting on um an IRA or a whole life insurance policy or just to savings. And he's like, I'm tired of getting whatever, 2%, 3%, 4%. Can you get me 10%? Can you get me 15%? I mean, if I'm experienced, yeah, and that could be a hard money lender. My best hard money lenders are my private lenders, are past clients, family members that just over time grew to trust me. And how if I'm trying to do a deal with no money, which is doing a deal with no money is just doing a deal with other people's money. No money just means none of your money, right? That's all it means. There's money, there's plenty of money involved. It's just you're borrowing money from other people, right? So, quick example of that is if you're doing a flip and you get a hard money lender to lend you 80% of the purchase price and 100% of the renovation costs. That means you need to bring 20% down payment to the closing table plus closing costs, plus maybe you have 6 months of holding costs. You borrowed that 20% plus your closing costs plus your holding costs from someone else, right? So you have the hard money lender give you this, and you have the someone else give you this, right? That's your whole deal. And when you flip it, you pay. Sorry. When you flip it, you pay both back, pay them back their interest, their percentage, and you take your cut. That's If you ever get someone that tries to sell you a course on using no money to buy real estate, that's the course, right? That's it. All right. So save yourself the 20 grand. Uh, Contractors. I can go on about this forever, but I've been uh, robbed by a lot of contractors for tons and tons of money over the years. I blame it all on myself for not knowing what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, it's a reality. If you didn't know what you were doing at the time and you start writing checks to contractors and you're getting screwed, it's on you. You got to own it, right? So, but I'm a licensed contractor. I can't tell you the last time I swung a hammer. Like I got it so I can control the money. It's very easy to get a contracting license. You go on whatever the website is and you pay for it. It's $100, and then you just have to get the insurance. You're a general contractor. Boom, no experience required. That's how you become a general contractor. I'm not even kidding. Like that's how you do it. And a lot of them don't even keep their insurance. They'll buy it for the 1 month to show you that they have an insurance policy, and then they'll stop paying. So make sure you do your homework on contractors more than anything. Like reviews, make sure they have an online presence. If they don't have an online presence, why? Right? If they really cared about their reputation, they'll want the reviews. They'll want the Google. They'll want the Facebook. They'll want a website. They'll want their name on the side of their truck, right? I'm not saying that'll always guarantee you, but it's at least a good indication that they kind of care, right? Um, uh, Suppliers.
Question
Yeah,
on the-
yeah.
So do you check reviews, insurance, and what else do you check when you screen a contractor?
So there's a lot of things you can do with contractors. Reviews for sure, if they have it. You can ask them to give you past clients. Chances are they're just going to write down a bunch of their buddies and friends, right?
Yeah.
If I like to know that they're currently working on a job and ask if I can come to the job site. Um, uh, there's a few other things you can build in to your contracts. Like one of the contracts I have says that this is specifically when I'm using hard money. If the contractor gives me a timeline and they go over that timeline for reasons within their control, right? Now, if I get a crazy code guy and he holds up the thing for a couple of weeks, I'm not gonna blame that on the contractor. Like that happens. Or if it's in the winter and it snows and they can't do the roof, okay, I'm not gonna blame the like I'm talking about within reason. But if they told me they could do this job in 3 weeks and we're a month and a half in, I'm the one losing money because every day I'm paying interest. So I built in fees. I can't turn that off with the volume. Sorry. Very annoying. So I built in fees for my contractors and um I'll hold them to it, right? So like there's ways to protect yourself from a contractor screwing up. Uh, Make sure they're okay with. I'm not doing 50% up front. Like I'll do 25%, I'll do another 25, I'll do another 25. And after it's all finished, I'll give you your final, but I'm not giving you 15% 50% anymore up front. I've been burned by that too many times, so just not gonna do it. Um, if you give me the opportunity, I will go get the supplies. I'll go pay for the supplies. I can't bring them, I don't have a truck, but I'll pay for them. You could go to the store, have them call me. Home Depot will call you. You can set up a pro account, they'll call you, right? And you pay, right? Don't let them upcharge you on supplies, right? Like this is every dime counts. So just make sure like you're watching every penny. If they're getting supplies, make sure they give you receipts, right? And it's not that hard. They can take a picture of it at the store, right? Or Home Depot will email it to you, right? Or most of these smaller suppliers will do that too. Um, the suppliers, the supplier part, like for granted, it matters for, but like your HVAC guy, they're gonna get their own stuff. Like they have their supplier. Your plumber, he has his supplier. Your finishes is where it comes in. So like if you have a cabinet company, is really good, does the job well, don't have your contractor do that because they're gonna upcharge you, right? Get your own stuff, let them install it. Same thing for granite. What else about
Flooring appliances.
what's that?
Flooring appliances.
Yeah, appliances. Yeah, for sure. Appliances, get your own appliances. Like that's huge. Buy them when they're on sale. So, Memorial Day weekend's coming up. I'm gonna be putting away some appliances. Yeah, staging companies. I've never been huge on staging. I'll do light staging, I'll do virtual staging. If it's a really expensive house and I'm really reaching, I might suggest it and I'll let the client know we're reaching here, But I find staging, I mean, they say on average staging, I don't know where they got the stat, but it's a stat that stagers have been using that it adds 2% in on top of your sales price. But I feel like it also costs you 2%. So because it's not cheap. Like the month. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the most I've ever.
Yeah.
But this is by far.
They're bringing Persian rugs and.
They bring in a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah.
Typically, it's like 3,000.
But you wouldn't even like it's gonna be hard to tell if you would have gotten that same price if you didn't do the staging, right?
You're absolutely.
You know, so like it's like I get why you want to do it, especially in that
Not doing
price,
this one.
especially you're pushing it, you're trying to get that top value, but sometimes it's like, you know, is this a sunk cost? So the staging part, yeah, I mean, and there's companies like our photography company does great virtual staging. It looks
Yeah,
real.
it did nice.
Yeah, you know. So, uh, a real estate agent. That's what I do. That's my primary job. Um, I run a real estate company. Get a real estate agent to invest in real estate. I just like I don't have to tell you much more than that. Make sure they invest. That's it. If they're don't know how to invest, why are they helping you? Right? Um, uh, estate attorneys, divorce attorneys, attorneys in general, wholesalers. These are all people that'll come in handy as part of your potential dream team. As you grow, people to oh yep.
I'm sorry, the newbie, define wholesaler.
Okay. So a wholesaler is like the opposite of a real estate agent, right? And I don't say that to disparage them. I've bought plenty of houses from wholesalers. A wholesaler is looking for a deal, right? So you ever get those letters in the mail? It's like, we'll buy your house cash.
Yeah,
Or you get those phone calls or text messages. They're all over the place. We'll buy your house cash. They're not actually buying your house. What they're saying to you is, uh, we'll buy it cash. They'll show up. They will offer you 50% of the after repair value for your house, meaning what it's worth after it's fixed up. Tell you this is what your house is worth. When really, if you put it on the market, you probably could get 70% of the after repair value. Then they get you to sign that contract. It's called an assignment contract, right? They're then going to shop that contract to all of their actual investors that have the money to buy this property cash. So when you go to the closing table, you're not actually closing with the wholesaler or that person you signed that contract with. You're closing with the person they sold the contract to, and they're getting an assignment fee in the middle, right? It's yeah.
Yeah, I bought a house for, I forget which property it was, but it was, I think I bought it for like $52,000 through a wholesaler. You were the realtor on it, on my end. And at the end, the wholesaler walked away with like $20,000. So yes, yeah, so the person who actually was selling the house, if I bought it for 55, they got a check for 35 from me. The other 20 went to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler did nothing. But
Well, I would argue, and I'm not defending
he found
wholesale,
the deal.
right? But he did find a deal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
hell of a find.
Oh, I've
Like, I
seen.
assumed he was getting like 8,000 or something.
Yeah, I get.
20,000, I was shocked.
Well, wholesaling is the lowest point of entry into real estate investing because you don't actually need any money to do it, right? You just have to find a deal. So all I could, if I go knock on a bunch of doors or pull like a pre-probate list or one of those things and go find someone that's willing to sell me their property, I just get them to sign a contract and then I go sell the contract. I don't actually need any money. So it's like you get a lot of newbies in that industry and they don't know what they're doing because they don't realize you should pull a title report before you ever try to sell this property because a lot of them will do the assignment fee and then realize, oh, there's 20 grand in liens on the property, so they're not walking away with anything. Um, so there are companies that do it really well at a high scale. Um, your real estate agent should not be wholesaling. That's the opposite of what a real estate agent should be doing. A real estate agent should be selling your house for the most money, not trying to sell it for the lease and take the equity, right? Um,
Wholesalers need a real estate.
yes, which is crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
did they really?
that's the new law is they want them to have real estate licenses to kind of have some control on that
When did that go?
a year ago, maybe. Yeah. And it's, I think, a wild rule. I mean, like, talk about the complete opposite of what your fiduciary responsibility is. So I think it should be its own separate thing. Like they should have some regulations for it, but it needs to be a separate license. Because now you're just muddying the water as to what our job is, right? Um,
Now, is the wholesaler using his or her own money?
no, they're using no money.
They're basically promising to sell that house by the date they say it's going to get sold.
Oh, now I understand why it's an entry point, okay.
Yeah. And if they can't sell it,
Yeah.
they just disappear, right? And the seller doesn't know any better. They thought they were getting their house sold as is. Um, uh, and didn't know they were supposed to get a deposit or any of these things. And unfortunately, wholesalers generally prey on people that don't know this stuff, right? Like usually it's in impoverished communities that these things are happening. So it's rare you would see a wholesaler wholesale $1 million property. Like that's not happening, right? Maybe it is, just not around here often. Um, and yeah, so
Especially the staging companies,
Mm.
which ones are the top of the companies that stage the homes?
oh, there's plenty of companies around here. Yeah, I try to have a few numbers in my phone. I'm sure you have a few numbers. Most agents have a few stagers that have reached out. A lot of times stagers used to be realtors, they just became
Yeah,
stagers. Because they like that aspect of it better. Yeah, yep, yep, yeah. So they're usually not too hard to find, but um again, I think it's like weigh the benefit, like yeah. And then other investors. I mean, a lot of what I've learned have just been from other investors, because I found that the people that do everything at the highest level are willing to share all the information with you, right? Like as a real estate agent, I've been listening to the top teams for years to get to where I am at, and they don't withhold any information. They're happy to share. Um, you know, you see all these people online that are billionaires or whatever, they're talking about their business and how they built it. Like people that made it want to share. So good real estate investors will share as much information with you as possible because they don't see you as a threat. They see you as a potential investment opportunity, right? Um, yeah. All right. So who else do you work with or send business to as an investor? Anywhere or anyone that you send business should be sending you leads, referrals, and business in return. Anytime you spend money, let that business know what you're looking for and ask first, how can I help or how can you help them? Then let them know how they can help you. And again, it goes forward to like help them first. Give them as much as you can. And in return, let them know what you're looking for, right? Uh, if they ever come across someone that has a property that needs to be fixed up, but they don't have the money to do it, and they just want to sell it off market, please call me. If you're a friend or family member. And like posting on, I've found my best deals on Facebook. Like just a post looking for an investment property, and someone's like, oh, my aunt has a situation. Boom, amazing deal, right? If you're an investor and you're not at least posting that on your social media a couple times a year, like, hey, yeah, like you'd be surprised how many people in your network or know someone that's going through a tough time that just needs to get out, right? And if you post something on your Facebook a couple times a year, don't be overwhelming.
Yeah.
A couple times a year, you'll be surprised. Yeah. All right. So where do you find people for your dream team? Now, it depends, right? Um, one option, places like this, right? I'm not the only seminar. There's tons of real estate investments. Maybe not tons. I actually don't see a whole lot of them anymore. I don't know why that is. In the city, there's more than there are in the suburbs. There's like one or two in Delaware County, like the guy on McDade does one, and every now and then, and like there's a few people that do them. You don't see a ton of these, but there's definitely if you go on like Meetup or any of these sites or Facebook groups, you usually find other ones. Attend.
South Jersey area is real.
Okay. Yeah.
No harm driving. They have like all over Jersey, sometimes like I'll go as far as Princeton if the topic's interesting, but
Okay.
a lot of them are like right over in Cherry Hill.
Okay.
And
Which one is it?
The South Jersey RIA, like our Real Estate Investor Association,
Yeah.
and they charge $20 to go, or you can pay $20 a month and just have unlimited access to any, and they do like 13 different meetings a month, so you're like guaranteed to find. Then they have like subgroups, like a rehabbing subgroup, they have a wholesaling subgroup,
Hmm.
but they have a lot of good information.
Yeah. I know the Philly one isn't that.
I don't even know.
There,
what the one.
there is a Philly one, and I think they kind of it gets hot for a while and then it slows down. But I haven't heard of the South Jersey one. That's good. Um, Join Facebook groups for your region. There's plenty. Believe me, if you look up Facebook groups for investors, wholesalers, uh, deals, anything, you will find a ton of Facebook groups, and they're talking on there all the time. I like had to. Mhm. No, no, that's good.
I listened to Bloomberg Radio, to drive back up, from DC.
Yeah.
Visiting my son. And, I heard again that, large corporate entities like BlackRock are getting into this
Sure.
market. Are any of you finding competition from large corporate investors? I mean, they got deeper pockets and.
Yeah. So I am aware of a lot of them, and I was seeing a lot more during the height of COVID, like when Zillow had their cash offer program they were running that failed miserably, and I think they lost like $200 million or something. Zillow did this thing where they're like, we're just gonna make offers based on our estimate. And that was a disaster. But yes, they are out there. A lot of them are run through like sub entities. Like I'm building a new website right now, and part of it has a cash offer division that's funded by these companies, but they're not offering 60 cents on the dollar. Like they're not, and for move-in ready houses. So we're really not a market for that anymore. Uh, the Northeast and the Midwest survived the whole COVID craze so well because people didn't flock here in droves. And if they did, they didn't sell their house. They knew they were coming back. So that's why our real estate markets in these areas are still so strong that companies like that, we're not what they're looking for. They're looking for depressed markets. And there's plenty of those around the country for the last 2 years. We just haven't felt it here because of the way our economy handled COVID essentially. So, but yeah, there's plenty of that. Yeah. All right. So, one of the big things is, how to stay in touch, right? And in real estate, we use the term CRM, sure, it's a client relationship manager, a Rolodex, but there's great CRMs out there. That's what keeps ringing on my desktop right now is the CRM we use. You need it. All right. It's you might be able to write down and keep notes in your notepad, but eventually, as you grow your investment business, you're going to know so many people that if you don't have a client relationship manager doing the job for you, it gets difficult, right? And there's very cheap ones out there. There's ones that are like $10 a month, right? You don't have to go crazy. Um, but there are great CRMs like Lion Desk, uh, Follow Up Boss, KV Core. Like I can give you 20 CRMs. It's really just to organize your contacts, keep notes on them, and have it remind you when to follow up. It's like anything. If you're not following up with your clients and or the people in your business, they're gonna forget about you, right? So you use your HVAC guy earlier this year, and you don't have something for him till later in the year. Well, throughout the year, he's still dealing with people, and unless you're reminding them that, hey, I'm an investor, opportunities fall through the cracks, right? So, um, reach out to them, offer them to help with their business, refer them to people right? Um, Dude, wear a t-shirt says I buy real estate, like be loud and proud about it, man. People will see that stuff and they will happily talk to you about it. When I get a week when I feel motivated and I decide to go to the gym for a couple of days before I quit again for 2 months, I'll wear like one of my real estate t-shirts and people will talk to me at the gym about it. And it's great because it gives me an excuse to not work out, right? But it's still, it's effective, right? So yeah. Uh, I meet up with people all the time. I meet up with other agents. And I tell other agents all the time, hey, if you find me a deal, I will let you represent me, happily let you represent me. I'm looking for opportunities, right? If I can't handle it, I'll refer it to one of my clients that want one right now. And I don't care if you represent them. They're happy, they got a deal, and I get to keep them going, right? So take them out. I mean, I sent one of my contractors, I have like partial Eagle season tickets, and I gave a pair to like one of my contractors who did a lot of work for me in a year. Like that's, now they're not super expensive tickets. I can't afford that, but he was very, very grateful, and if a deal comes up, he's calling me.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
One of the pros missing from your list earlier was accounting.
Yeah, I was gonna continue with the list and then I got sidetracked. Yeah, you're right. Accountant is huge as you grow. Um, yeah, an accountant is huge. A good accountant. Make sure your accountant knows and handles other real estate investors. One of the mistakes I made early on when I became a realtor was the accountant I used was a very nice guy. He was in Havertown, actually, right on Eagle Road.
Eric Ring.
No, there's that like tan building right there on Eagle Road across from the Swiss Farms.
Yeah.
I forget what his name is. Older guy. He might be retired now, but he, great accountant, didn't work with a lot of realtors. So I heard on a podcast about converting my business to an S corp and paying myself a payroll and draws, and he's like, don't do that. And I was like, all right. And then the next year, like, I heard another agent talking about, I'm like, I gotta do this. So I spoke to another accountant, and they're like, yeah, you should have done this 2 years ago, and it saved me a lot of money in taxes. Same thing applies to real estate investing. Make sure you have an accountant that understands how the money works with real estate investing and where your write-offs are. Do you qualify as a real estate professional? Like all of these things that can help you with when it comes to tax time. Make sure you have the right account. Um, a bookkeeper. Once your business scales, you need a bookkeeper, right? If you're doing enough rental properties, it becomes really, really hard to manage the numbers. And getting a part-time bookkeeper, your accountant usually has someone they can recommend that will do it and provide them with everything they need. Trying to think of it. Yep.
So, just getting a real estate license,
Mhm.
does that, help you monetarily, like you were just saying, as far as taxes go, or saving you money? Or, you mentioned being a real estate professional, what is that,
So a real estate professional is a qualified tax term that if you spend a certain amount of time on real estate every year, you could call yourself a real estate professional. Yeah, a certain amount of hours.
And what happens
Would
then?
I qualify for that?
You might. I think you will. The amount of time you put into real estate.
Then what happens?
What
What
would
did that do?
It's a write-off. So like it lowers I don't know, you'd have to
You
talk
can,
to
you
me
can
about it, but it's
offset, you can offset your passive losses,
Yeah.
your active income, like W2 income.
Okay.
so yeah, there's
I guess like being a professional gambler.
yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
if you're I mean, I believe in specializing in what you do, right? So if you're an investor and you're your own realtor, but you're not also selling real estate constantly, you're gonna mess up, right? It's gonna cost you money. Yeah, you might save some money on the percentage on the sale, but like, do you have access to the proper marketing channels to market your property correctly, right? Like, do you understand how all it's
He'll lose the idea is to get friendly with as many realtors as you can,
right?
so that one of the many
Yeah,
might bring you a deal.
yeah,
If they know you're a realtor,
yeah.
some of them, I mean, one might, whatever, but some might not. And so you gotta weigh whether you better really get into real estate if you're gonna lose your opportunities with 7 different realtors possibly bringing you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
mean,
getting into this, there's no real benefit to like getting a real estate license even, right? Getting into
I mean,
investing.
if you, it can help you get into properties quicker, right? If your realtor is good, they're busy, right? And if they don't have a team that can back them up for showings,
Mhm.
they're not going to get you there the quickest. So maybe it'll help you get into properties. But again, you're paying to maintain that license,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think even without any serious expensive fees, it might cost you, I'm going to say $1,000 a year on average to have a real estate license,
Okay.
right? If you talk
Yep.
about like
Yeah,
the
I'll just
board,
add, like, I have my license, I don't
right?
buy and sell property. The advice I got was that it was worthwhile to get your license if you're planning to invest. Part of it was like you could offset closing costs and or the purchase price of the property with your commission fee. Part of it was getting access to the MLS. And then, the other part was just like the networking and meeting the other agents.
Okay.
Mm. So there's
Yeah.
there's some benefits for sure. But like our team just got access to Zillow Showcase, and you have to be like a top 10% in each market team to do that. And that like highlights our listings now. So like if you go and Google a listing in Havertown and an agent has a showcase listing, that's the one that pops up the biggest on Zillow, right? Like there's benefits to having agents that have the experience level. Also, they're constantly selling houses. They have relationship with other agents. They're not going to BS you on the comps, right? Like when I was first starting into real estate, I mean, I was just excited to get a listing, right? And I didn't always hold my sellers accountable. At this point, I feel very comfortable saying, no, sir, you're not going to get that for your house, right? Like, let's have a real conversation here. And if that loses me the listing, it is what it is. I'd rather not lie to you. That's like to have an agent that have that confidence to say that to you, you need that. You need someone in your corner that's actually going to protect your pocket when you're an investor. And sometimes that's getting out of your own way. I know it's really hard for me too, as an investor, when I'm getting done with a flip and I'm like, well, maybe I can get an extra 25 grand. And I have to keep reminding myself, like, no, don't do it. You've made this mistake before. So, there's plenty of benefits. It's the same reason you hire an accountant when you're doing your taxes, right? Hire someone that knows what they're doing, right?
Yes.
All right. So, stay in touch. You can email these people. You can set up automatic emails. You don't even have to get crazy about it. Google has a plugin called Boomerang, where like you could set up automatic emails to like say, hey, just a reminder, don't forget about me. I invest in real estate. Okay, that's sent out once a month to every contact in your database, right? Like it's free. These are things you can do that kind of automate your life, but also do what you're supposed to be doing, even if you forget. Um, Boomerang, it's just a plugin to Gmail, because Gmail you can't set up like timed messages, or you can't see read receipts and things like that. So they have like, I don't know why it's not just part of Gmail. There has to be some reason that they have a third party that does this for free. Um, but it's just a plugin you just download, and now it's part of your Gmail, and you could do different unique things with your email that you couldn't do before. Um, uh, yeah. And also like I'm constantly sharing tips with people in my database. Like so like, if I'm listening, I listen to like contractor podcasts too, because I want to hear how they are thinking, and if I hear something really good, I'll share it with my buddies that are contractors. You shouldn't listen to your business, and if I'm able to, the more I'm able to share with them, I feel like the value is there for me. How do you currently manage your database? So again, I said invest in a CRM. You can start with something simple like a Gmail add-on, like Copper or Zoho. Zoho is actually really good for. I use Zoho Vault for like storing passwords too. Um, and then you can categorize your contacts. You can get bigger CRMs like the ones I mentioned. The whole point, like in any business, is it stays top of mind. Like as a realtor, my number one thing is staying top of mind, right? With my clients. Like I'm retargeting them through ads and social media and, you know, uh, they're getting email blasts from us and we're calling them, we're talking to them, we're throwing parties. It's the same thing for every business you build. It's how do I remind people that this is what I'm doing so that when that opportunity comes up, they think of me. Okay. Nike doesn't have to have billboards. They're there just to remind you, that swoop, right? Create a plan to stay in touch. Just like I said, have a plan. I mean, I have a plan for our entire database. I have a plan for, if I'm reaching out to brokers in other areas because I'm starting to look for apartment buildings, I have a follow-up plan for that. How often am I going to call them to see if they have any deals? Because once you start getting into bigger deals on the commercial side, they don't post these things on the internet. All of these guys like to double end their deals, the brokers. So like you have to keep calling them to get a deal, right? They're kind of gatekeepers. Uh, right. Come up with ways that you can help their business or give them some sort of value. And like I say this to other agents that I talk to around the country. I'm like, hey, if you ever find a really great deal, let me know because I'll do the same, right? Or if I have someone that's moving to your area, I'll refer them to you, vice versa, right? It's the same thing. You're just adding value through relationships. All right. Uh, Dream Team 2.0. So affiliate relationships, promote complementary products or services on your website and or your marketing, co-brand marketing, and share marketing expenses to widen your reach. Provide links to partner companies from your website. Use services like Xtol or Linked Tracker to track clicks and referrals. When someone uses your link to access partner sites and products, you get paid. You'll start to realize as you grow your real estate business, it becomes all sorts of things, right? It's not just I'm buying flips now and then. It becomes like, well, hey, I have like there's a really large real estate team around this general area, and there's a bunch around the country that do these things. They have um, partner uh, like vendor referral books. So they'll have their vendors, their preferred vendors, pay a monthly fee to advertise on their platforms, in their app or on their website, or gets a link to their emails. I think these really big real estate teams have hundreds of thousands of contacts in their database that already know, like, and trust them because they did right by them. So usually people are calling, texting, and emailing me asking for contacts anyway, and I'm giving them away for free happily. But as you grow, that becomes of value, right? Like if you're a contractor, you're on some Thumbtack and uh, Yelp and these sites because you're paying for referrals. It's the same thing if you have a partnership with like a real estate company that has a great reputation and has tons of past clients. You could do that. The same thing goes for your investments. If you start investing heavily in a neighborhood and people are coming to you for investment advice, and now you're referring them contractors, like you can build a referral off of that. You can build a business off of that. You can say, hey, I'm referring you this $100,000 job. Like, let's work out some sort of referral fee. I don't do any of this yet. I will eventually. At some point, I'll be big enough that it makes sense. And I don't have the capacity to manage a database like that. But someday, you know. Uh, and these are ways you can generate extra revenue, right? Um, revenue means you can buy more properties, right? It's always like, how can I buy more properties? I need more money. How can I get more money? Either borrow from other people, create other business opportunities to drive income back to you. Um, when I first started, I never wanted to do flips. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to pay taxes on that. Now I realize you have to do flips if you're gonna keep scaling your business. They're a necessary evil. You have to do them. you can't just rely solely on your W-2 income because that's what you live off of, right? So yeah,
Now, the only way, if you 1031 them all, right, that's the only way, or no?
you can't 1031 flip.
Oh, you can't.
No. No, the 1031 exchanges are meant for buy and hold. They're
Okay.
not meant for flips. So
Oh, right, it has to be either over 1 year, 2 years, something like that?
I think there's really no set timeline, but most accountants say a year,
Okay.
right? But they don't, the IRS doesn't want you deferring the taxes on flips. Yeah, they're smarter than that. Yeah. Yeah, they'll let you defer it on any building you want, but that you've held, but not on flips. All right, so here are some of our groups. There's plenty of free access on our website, and